Good afternoon, folks. We're doing a little bit of Boston butts on the grill. There are several things that you have to take into account when you're grilling. Of course, your time, your temperature, and how fast you want to cook it. Since we're smoking, you want to go low and slow. Some people go as high as 275. That to me is too high. You normally want to go about like 225, no more than 250 for your maximum temperature. And if you're doing a long and slow cook, you have to keep an eye on your meat to make sure that it gets done, which for pork, well done is 165, and that's good enough. But if you're trying to make pulled pork, you want to go up higher. So you want to go about like 190, 200, just depends where you get that really soft feel where it's easy enough to pull apart by hand. So that's what we're doing right now. You can come out and check it with your handheld probes, which you will have to do that, but since it's going so long and I don't want to keep popping the top, I have a little digital setup here. You just have one there to measure like your grill temperature, and then one for each piece of meat. These have a bone, so I had to make sure to not touch the bone. And then I have it set up to a little sensor. Link it up to either your phone, your tablet, or whatever, and you can keep an eye on your meat there the whole time, which you probably just heard it beep. That's because I have it up and it dropped too low. They're like the grill monitor, so we'll drop this top again. Sorry for the excess smoke. It hasn't been smoking that hard, but we just got a little piece in there burning. You see the little flame? So we're going ahead and drop that top. So that's just a quick little summary of how you want to do your Boston butts. You can do the same thing with briskets. Of course, we can talk about that another time for its different times and temps and speeds. But for this Boston butt, we've been running about 225 to 250. It's been going for almost 10 hours, still going low and slow. Right now, we're about 160 plus. So it's technically done, but not for pulled pork status. So we're going to keep going to maybe another 3 or so hours, and we'll see how that goes. So check back and we'll let you know how it goes. Thank you. All right, folks, we got a timer going on, so it means we have one of our butts done. So we'll lift the top here, take a look, and see what we got. Yeah, we got a little smoke going. That's because we lifted the top a little bit to check. So we got like a little bit of flame going at the bottom. But you remember we were saying between 190 and 200? Well, this one is over the 190. As you take it, you can just see it's just easily going in. There's not a lot of difficulty going in, which is a good thing. So let's go ahead and take off this back one. As you see, very loose. Just like it's trying to tear on us. So just give me some little spatulas here to see if we can try to scoop this up and get it on off. We even oiled this and everything, but it's still sticking a little bit. We'll have to do a little bit better the next time with that, but there you go, that one's done. You see, it's just pulling off my spatula, it's just tearing up. So we're gonna get some easy, good pulling. I'll show you this here really quick. That's just some of the meat. That's looking very good, very tender, very nice. All right, we'll go ahead and clean this off and give the other one a little bit more time, and we'll come back and see how it does. All right, so we got that one off. We shut the top back down to let it keep going. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. What you wanna do, you can cut into it right away, but that's never a good thing to do because it's been cooking for easily 12 hours, and you need to let the juices reconstitute into the meat. So what we're gonna do is wrap it up very tightly and let it sit at least an hour, maybe more. It's smelling so good. I don't know if I'll be able to wait that long, but we're going to try. And then we'll just try to just pull it off. And if we get it right, it should be moist enough to just pull by hand. Or you can use a very light fork. We have some forks there that we'll try to use out. But best thing, if you get it well, it should pull by hand. That's your goal with your pulled pork. And if it doesn't quite work out, that's okay. It's still going to taste good. So we'll see. We'll check back in about an hour. All right, folks, so welcome back. We already pulled the first butt, and now we're about to pull the next one. But just real quick, just show you some of what we pulled. That's the bowl full of the first one. I used the fork some just to say that I used them, but pretty much pulled the whole thing by hand, just in different sizes, different shapes. It was soft enough. You could just pick it up and just pull it straight by hand. It was nothing to it, so that's a good thing. And after we cut the film, before we started pulling the rest of it, we grabbed the bone just to pick it up and try to move it, and the whole bone just slipped straight out. So that's a good thing. It shows that you were getting some pretty tender meat around it. So that's the bone that we have. You know, that's what I was trying to avoid when I was putting in the temperature probes, because if you hit the bone, you'll get a false reading and you'll think your meat is one temperature, and it's not. So we can wait a little bit longer, but it's been almost an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'm ready to take a look at this next one. See some of the juices, I don't know if you can see them, it's falling all out of the foil. Try to get this unwrapped nicely here. We had to wrap this one up really good because the foil kept tearing on us. This was the first one that you saw us take off the grill. So here we go. Once again, we didn't trim off fat beforehand. We just simply seasoned it up with a personal blend of ours, smoky sweet. That's it. And different people do it different ways. I'm not saying mine is the best, but this works for me. What I normally do is I put a wet rub or some kind of an oil or something on it first, because it's going so long, and I don't use a water pan. If you use a water pan, you don't have to do different things, so you know, you just kind of pick and choose what you like to do, but put a wet rub, and then we put our personal blend of smoky sweet on it. That's it. And then we cooked it. It took about 12 or so hours, so that's pretty good. And so you see me picking this one up and moving it around. It's already pulling apart. There's the bone. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good pull. So we'll just show us pulling some of this meat. We won't show the whole thing because I don't want you guys to get too hungry looking at this and not being able to taste some of it. Something else that we're thinking about doing, if it's possible, we don't know, but if there is a Zonta festival in October, well, we plan on going, and this may show up out there. You never know. So stay tuned. If you guys have a request for something else, let us know, and we may do it for you. You never know. So you can see some of this. I'll stop and show you real quick. This is right around the top. You can see the little light smoke ring there, and then the meat. So that's pretty good. You can go in super deep with your smoke ring, a fairly decent amount. I mean, that's not too bad. You just see the different looks of the meat. This looks like a pretty good pull. And as you saw, the bone just slipped straight out, so you know it's tender. So we'll try to pull this whole one by hand, and we'll come back and show you guys the final results. We'll try not to eat it all before we come back on screen. All right, folks, we're back on air just to show you guys the final results. This is both of the Boston butts pulled by hand because it was tender enough to do that. Started out with 21 pounds raw, and the final bit of pulled meat is about 9 pounds, 14 ounces, a little more give or take because there was a little bit on sample. So we'll say about 10 pounds. So we got roughly about half the weight of the meat, which is to be expected because pork does lose a lot there when it's cooked for so long, but this is definitely a tender take on pulled pork, and hopefully we can all enjoy it. And once again, as we said, we are planning on taking this to the festival at Zonta there on Lord willing. If we have one, we would like to bring pulled pork and have some for you guys to taste. And until next time, this is Clark's Cookery. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.